Welcome to Entrepreneurship Clinic right here on PCG TV, where we nurture your ideas and where we make sure that your startups come to life. And this is Ghana Month, also the International Women's Month. And so happy International Women's Month to all women, and then also to the he for she's. Happy International Women's Day to you for doing a good job. And for us who are in Ghana, we say happy Ghana Month to all of us. As you can see, I'm repping my Ghana shirt right here on PCG TV, and this is brought to you by the Development and Social Services Department in collaboration with PCG TV. And we are sponsored by Salem Water and the Salem range of products. And today we are going to have this conversation about effective time management. This is one thing that affects each and every person. How do we make sure that we are getting or making the most out of our 24 hours? How is it that people are making most out of it and others are struggling to even perform their simple task? And so these and many more others are we having on this show right here on PCG TV. Don't go away. Yeah, welcome back to Entrepreneurship Clinic, the March edition, where we are having the conversation on effective time management. And like I earlier mentioned, brought to us by the Development and Social Services Department in collaboration with PCG TV. And we are going to have this conversation with one seasoned person in the studio, no other than Mrs. Sarah Annan, who is a seasoned finance professional with 15 years of banking experience and also a finance consultant with the EcoBank Group. And most importantly, she was the gender and inclusive banking head at the EcoBank Ghana. And so it's right that she's here as we celebrate International Women's Month as well. In fact, the list is very tall, but we're going to take it one after the other as we go along the program. And so you're most welcome, Mrs. Sarah Annan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know I had to cut your profile very short,
And
but of
actually
course
had
it's
to,
one fold.
yes, so it's actually Pan-African Savings and Loans, the
Okay.
microfinance wing of EcoBank Ghana.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I think I
a
missed that part.
subsidiary.
Very
Yes,
important.
that's okay.
Thanks for adding that to it. You're
Very
most
well.
welcome and happy to have you.
Happy to have you too. Thank you very
All
much.
right. So we are having a conversation on something very important, effective time management. I mean, this is something that we always talk about. And sometimes it feels like, oh, this is just something simple. But in the end, the question is, are we able to all manage our 24 hours correctly, properly? Are we able to perform the tasks that we align that's okay, today when I wake up, I do this, I do that, and end with that? Is that how it goes for us and all of that? But before we even come to that, happy International Women's Month
Thank
to
you.
you.
And happy International Women's Day to
For all
you
the
as
great
well.
jobs you are doing out there. Thank you so much as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you, my
Yeah.
dear. Thank
I
you.
mean, so just for the records, I mean, when we talk about women managing time and everything, give us just something simple talking about women, and for this year's theme telling us that we should give to gain. What are we expected to give? What are we expected to gain?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I would want to say that when you look at the makeup of a woman, the daily
Please, not this
activities.
makeup. Oh.
No, well, yes, not the facial
Yeah.
makeup, but the entire makeup. So when I say makeup, I'm trying to mean the daily routine of a normal woman or a usual woman. We sometimes we want to applaud them because almost their entire life is a life of giving. Theirs is to continually give,
Okay.
and spend time for others or with others. Why am I saying this? We are looking at a woman who is working, a woman who has a family, a woman who has duties to perform in the church, a woman who is married, a woman who has targets in the office. I mean, one person has a whole lot of lists, and so her makeup is just given for the kids, given for the house, given for the church, given for the office, and so I kind of like the year's theme, give to gain. And so women give and they gain back from the seed they have sown in their families and whatever they are doing. So for us, I think it's a perfect theme to define who a woman really is.
I
we
was
give.
just thinking, on a normal day, do we really even sit to reflect on the fact that giving at the church, giving at the workplace, giving to society, giving to family, giving to kids? I mean, do we sit to reflect on all of those things? It's like everybody is going about their usual
It's
businesses.
good to reflect. It's good to reflect on these things every now
Mm,
and then. But believe you me, and I'm using myself as an example without being biased. Both men and women give, but sometimes, it has become so natural with women that it is not normal for it rather seems abnormal for a woman to sit down reflecting, how much am I giving, or how
mm,
much of myself have I given off to all these people. I'm looking at these 3 children, I'm looking at the 4 children,
yeah.
and I have to prepare this for this and that and
Mm.
that. I mean, you have 3 different kids who have 3 different tastes, who do not want one food, and your husband also don't want that kind of food. You
Mm.
have to prepare something separate for all of them. You have targets waiting for you in the office.
A lot of work.
Yes, sometimes you want to attend evening services on Wednesdays. You want to attend Friday all night. You
Yeah.
are thinking of how the children put their children to bed
Mm.
and all that. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, a whole
It's
lot
a
of
whole
work.
lot compared to what our fathers are also doing.
Mm.
And so I don't think that even there's time to reflect, but it's good to have a
That's true.
reflection point
Mm.
sometimes
Yeah.
to just assess how you are doing
Yeah.
and correct some mistakes.
I
Yes.
think it's very important because sometimes, I mean, women, I haven't experienced that yet. I mean, we are all getting
Growing
there.
there, yes.
But I mean, sometimes they give so much that they don't even get satisfied that they are doing much or they are doing enough because they
Yes.
feel this is there. I've not been able to achieve that. I've not been able to attain that, which I set for myself. And then you end up, I mean, beating yourself up so much that you
Yes.
don't even praise
Yes.
yourself for the
Exactly.
little
Exactly.
achievements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember telling a friend some time ago who was, I mean, complaining about the same thing, that she feels that there's more she could have done for her kids, and she's not having time for the kids. She's not been able to give off as much. And I said, take a picture of the kids when they were
Yeah.
5 years younger. Are they the same?
Mm.
That's how much work you have
You
done.
have
Tap
done.
yourself at the back
That's
and say
very
you've done
important.
well. Yes. And so,
Very
yes, we,
important
we,
there.
we are doing that.
So yes, shifting right into effective time management.
Yes.
It's a broad term. What do we mean when we say time management? I mean,
Mm.
it's a term that we always hear. Manage your time. Manage your
Yes,
time.
yes.
What
I,
is
I
that?
like to I like to say it in a very practical way, that effective time management is all about planning right
Okay.
and executing at the right time. So, what is there? What tasks are there before me? What plans do I have to ensure that these tasks are well executed? Okay, so time management is basically planning right and executing at the right time to
Okay.
gain the best out of the period. So
Mm.
that is what I will say in practical terms what
Okay.
time management is.
That's very practical.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning this scenario or just citing this scenario that we all have the 24-hour, I mean, time.
Mhm.
But it looks like a woman managing a business, not even women per se, but I'm just using them as
Yeah.
example,
Mm.
managing a business on their own or even working in a company like
Mm.
yourself
Mm.
and then have kids to, I mean, take care of and all of that. How do we ensure that within the 24 hours they are able to make the most out of it in as much as yes, planning right, executing right? Maybe we should break it down
Mm.
to, because sometimes people are able to make most out of it and you ask yourself, how is this person managing a certain company and
Mm.
they are able to still have time
Mm.
for family, they
Mm.
attend weddings, they attend
Mm.
funerals, and
Mm.
you're wondering how are they doing this?
Yeah,
And for
juggling all
some, I
together.
mean, always struggling and unable to attain like one thing. How is that?
Well, that is very possible, although
Mm,
very difficult.
okay.
And pardon me for saying this. I do not deny it anywhere I go that the number one factor for successful events in a day to plan your time properly
Mm,
is God.
okay.
It's
Oh,
Christ.
yeah.
Okay? When you wake up in the morning, the very first thing you need to do is to surrender everything you desire to do
Mm,
in that day into God's hands. That is the number
yeah.
one
Very key.
step, because events occur within the day that you cannot control.
Mm,
Okay, that
that's
goes
true.
beyond your control. And so you need some supernatural hand,
Yeah.
yeah, supernatural hand to steer the affairs right for you. Secondly, you need to prioritize your task. Okay, it is very important to know which task demands my attention the most and which task I can actually maybe deal with later. Without prioritizing your tasks, you end up spending a lot of time on things that could easily, I mean, do not have much effect or is not so effective on the bottom line compared to things that have a higher effect on the bottom line. So you need to prioritize your your
Time.
task.
Okay.
Okay. And beyond that too, you need to set clear goals. Okay, I wake up in the morning, typical banker. I have a long or tall list of things to do that day. After praying and surrendering all that list in the hands of God, I set my priorities. Okay, this I cannot let skip in a day. This I cannot let skip today. I
Okay.
need to call this person. I need to do that. Draw a schedule
Okay.
and follow through with that schedule, prioritizing the ones that you need to do and set clear goals. By the end of the day or by 12 noon, I should have called Mavis,
Mm.
okay?
Yeah.
Or by 1 o'clock, I should have finished this task.
Mm.
It helps you monitor yourself. Without monitoring yourself, you'll not be able to do this. And in all this, you need to avoid interferences.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to avoid interferences. I just remembered I wanted to go and visit, and then you just stop whatever you're doing, and then you go and visit somebody in the office, and or I just remembered I have to call my mom and then discuss something. No,
You have a
it
whole
is
one
all
hour for.
exactly. It's all taking your time. But in as much as you need to avoid distractions, you need to take breaks.
Okay.
Okay, you need to have breaks within these tasks or schedules that you've planned for yourself. It is important that you do all these things. Otherwise, the day will pass by and you wouldn't know, or you can't even count what you did.
Mm.
And by the time you realize the day has ended and you
Yeah.
need to go back
Very
to bed
fast.
and retire. And that is how the rich gets richer
Mm.
and the poor
Yes,
gets
for
poorer. It's all
unfortunately.
about time
Mm.
management.
You
Yes.
you mentioned the fact that avoid interferences and all of that. I was just thinking, you are a subordinate in an office and your boss comes. I mean, you have set your priorities and everything, and then your boss comes and says, "Okay, I need this like right away." Is that not an interference in itself? And how do you then handle that? Because there are like more than two urgent things on your desk at the moment.
You see, this is a very good question and very dicey one and subjective as well. I say subjective because it depends on so many other factors.
Okay.
Okay. In certain organizations, even when my tax is interfered or another tax is given to me, I am able to navigate my way through because of the culture that exists in the organization. That is one. Another reason why this can also be subjective is that I may have a lot of people under my chain that can execute that
Okay.
tax that has been brought to me, although it's an interference on my daily task that I have scheduled. And so that also makes it an outlier. But in a case where you don't have a choice, you have to execute the task yourself,
Mm.
you have a planned schedule, it is going to veer you off. Believe you me, it's the most realistic thing that happens all the time in a corporate setting. It happens all the time. And that is why sometimes I always hammer on it. Don't leave your house without praying,
Mm.
because you need a certain supernatural hand to move certain things for you. Otherwise, the day will end and you've not done
Yeah,
anything.
that's true.
So, clearly, at that moment, what you need to do is to set priorities. Okay, my boss, immediate boss, has brought me a task that she wants immediately. Think about what it entails to execute that task, okay, as compared to what task you are embarking on now. I was faced with a clear example of this yesterday where I had a deadline to submit a report at 6 p.m. And around 5:56, I get a call from my boss and says that, you know what, move to the head office, go and have a meeting with this person and ensure this thing is signed off immediately. Until it is signed off, don't come back because we need it.
That's
Immediately,
very realistic.
yeah, very realistic. I have 3 minutes to finish my report and submit.
Mm,
And then my boss comes in to say this.
mm,
So I sat down, and the first thing, which is very common with me, is I said a word of prayer. And
right.
my usual prayer is, God help me.
Mm,
God help me.
mm,
It's as simple as 2 words
yeah.
or 3 words, but it is very effective.
Very
I just said,
effective.
God help me.
Mm,
And I just got the presence of wisdom that said that, take your laptop, get someone to drive you to the place.
work in the
As you are
vehicle.
going, work on your
Mm,
reports as you are going. You have 3 minutes, you know, and when you get there, check the ambience and leave the rest to God.
mm,
And I did just that. When I got there, indeed, the gentleman was occupied. The person I was
wow.
supposed to meet was occupied with another guest, so I
Mm,
had to wait for him.
yeah,
So
work on
guess
the
what? I
phone
had enough time to finish
to
my
finish
report
it.
and then go and see
That's
him.
very exciting to hear and very
Yeah,
practical. And I believe that, I mean, we want to hear more of it because
yeah,
it helps a lot. I'm
yeah,
just hearing
yeah,
pray on it. And it's
yeah.
very key. Sometimes
Okay.
we lose sight of it and then we feel, oh, this is my strength, my capacity. But
No.
I think that's very useful for
Yeah.
us to learn from there. So if
Mm.
you are just joining us, it's Entrepreneurship Clinic, the March edition, and we are talking about effective time management. And so do well to be taking a lot of notes. A lot has been shared already, but we are going for a short break and we'll be right back to continue the conversation. Thank you for staying glued to your set on PCG TV Entrepreneurship Clinic show, where we are having the conversation on effective time management. And this is brought to you by the Development and Social Services Department in collaboration with PCG TV. And we are sponsored by Salem Water and the Salem range of products, where we have shea butter, we have shea oil, we have a host of other products, palm oil, tissues, and all of that. And so do get close to any of the Presbyterian institutions, and then you can get any of the products for yourself. And we have been having the conversation with Mrs. Sarah Annan, who is a seasoned finance professional and with a 15 years of experience in banking. And she has also been a gender and inclusive head before in the organization. And so we have been talking a lot when it comes to time management, what it means, and then what you have to do, the practical things that you can do when it comes to managing your time effectively, talking about prioritizing your task properly, and then also setting clear goals and making sure that you are doing away with a lot of interferences. And so we are going to continue the conversation. And so stay glued with us and do well to share your comments and your questions if you have any, and then we'll continue the conversation from there. Yes, so we left off talking about, I mean, your practical experience, I mean, being able to prioritize your tasks properly or having a lot of things. There was an interference, and yet you were still able to continue with, I mean, your schedule like that. And so I just want to bring us also to the other one, that sometimes you find people, there are people who cannot, I mean, be, let's say, straight working on this, and then there are things that keep interfering or things that keep distracting them and all of that. How do people ensure that, maybe let me say, daily habits, I mean, it's a habit that has to be built. How do people ensure that I have built that habit to be able to stay glued to a task and say, I want to finish this, and then they get it done with taking breaks, as you mentioned earlier?
Well, that's a good question and a
Mm,
very practical one.
yeah.
But what I'll say to start with is that we need to learn to say no.
Okay.
Okay?
Hmm.
I know it's difficult.
It's so hard.
It's so hard, but yes, you need to learn to say
Mm,
no. Learn to say no. Any if it's hard for you, tell
mhm,
yourself, Sarah, learn to say no.
okay.
Learn to say no. Learn to say no. So if it keeps coming, you are able to remind yourself that you must say
Say
no.
no.
The reason is, if you don't say no, everything is thrown at you. In fact, someone gets a headache, the person feels like coming to tell you, "Oh, Sarah, I have a headache. Oh, don't you have?" Someone feels like someone has fallen and they need to go and attend. Hey, did you know that this person has fallen out there? Oh, the watcher seller didn't come today because we are told that her daughter is getting married. Did you hear the
Why is
watcher
she
seller? I
telling
mean,
you?
no. You see, there must be instances where you know that you are working, You are prioritizing your tasks. I need to finish this. This will take me about 30 minutes to finish. Let me focus and finish.
Okay.
When I finish, I take a break. I take a walk, I take a stroll, I come back, I sit down. During the time I'm taking a stroll and a walk, I can talk and chit chat. Learn to say no. Someone is bringing you an unplanned schedule that you can actually say no to, and then you embrace it because you probably want to be the hero of the day or you want to be the solution bearer of the day. Then you just bounce on it and you take it. Oh, let me go, let me go. Can you go and escort me to go and buy something? Okay, okay. Then you put your tax down and then no, no. So the first thing is to learn to say no. And then the second thing I'd like to talk about is the tendency for procrastination. Oh, this is not important for now, so let me just hold on. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. By the time you realize the day is gone, you never did it. 2 days are gone, 3 days are gone, and it is still pending. You know, we need to, like I mentioned earlier in our first conversation, that we need to set clear goals on what we want to achieve. If you set clear goals, I write it on my notes. As I do, I take. As I do, I take. It will be difficult for me not to, not
Yes,
to
it
do
does.
them, and I won't procrastinate. So these are the two things I'll talk about for now:
Okay.
learning to say no and avoiding procrastination.
Procrastination. Very, very key over there because this happens a lot amongst young people.
Yes.
Because your colleague comes, have you heard this? Have you heard that? Or maybe even something that's within the organization, and then you're like, oh, this is equally important conversation to have.
Let me listen
And
in.
exactly, and then make your contributions. And by the time you realize what you said for yourself hasn't been done.
Exactly.
But going back to, young people who are entrepreneurs or managing their own businesses,
Mhm.
how does that happen? Where maybe no boss brings anything to interfere, but of course they have personal things to deal with, and there are social things happening. And when do we get to say that, okay, I'm not attending this program, I'm not attending this conference, no matter how important it is? At what points do you say that this is not important to me, this is what I must focus on, and then you get to focus on that?
It's a good question, and I thank you for asking me that question, because most often than not, people think that being an entrepreneur rather makes you flexible and you can do anything at your own time because it's your job and there is no boss looking at you anywhere. But no, it doesn't work like that. Actually, being an entrepreneur demands that you are more disciplined towards the work that you are doing, because it's like integrity. What you do when no one is watching, no one is actually watching you to see whether you are meeting your key performance indicators. No one is appraising you at any point in time. You are appraising yourself, and you are appraising yourself. Your appraisal, the result of your appraisal, is seen at the end of the day. Your bottom line, the money you have, how well the business is doing. So if you are not disciplined to actually prioritize your tasks and ensure that things that are set to be done within the business environment are done, you will always lose out. For entrepreneurs or young people who are starting their business, the number one thing I'll say that will help time management is self-care.
Okay.
It's very key. Sleep early. Don't keep pressing your phone in the night when you get home, because these are practical things,
Yeah,
you see,
very, very
because
practical.
it is your job and you need to be able to have a very healthy body and sound mind. Not only are you thinking strategy on how you can make money, you are also thinking about sales. You understand? When you compare that to a corporate environment or someone's business, you have people who are thinking strategy level, and you have those who are doing the operations, and you have those who are doing sales. Everybody, the responsibility is shared, okay? But when you are an entrepreneur, everything is on you. You are thinking strategy, you are thinking operations, you are
Yes.
thinking sales, how all these things are going to be driven. And so you need a healthy body and a sound mind to be able to what? Take care of the business and ensure that the business is growing. Okay, then secondly, sleep early. Okay, sleep early. Sleep early too much phone. I mean, now the gadgets takes a lot of our time. It takes a lot of our time. Prioritize your tasks. Okay? When it's time to go off. When it's time to do the work, do the work. You understand what I'm saying? That for me is very these are very critical, practical things that we need to do as young business people who want to thrive and make it big in future. And the last thing I would say also is that what you are not good at, learn
Okay.
or hand it over to somebody who is good at it. Otherwise, if you decide to remain with the same knowledge and skill you have, trying to do it and it's not working, it's just time wasting.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand?
That's
Hand it over to someone to do it. Someone who knows it better. If you can pay the person and then the person does it to be efficient and effective. Those are the things I'll hit on.
And sometimes it happens that you are an entrepreneur having to think about all the things and all of that. And so maybe when you start to grow, you want to, extend the hand and partner with somebody or bring people on board to help and all of that. At what point would you say that, okay, this is something I need to hand over, without anybody kind of stealing ideas or anybody kind of giving you ideas that may not even work for you? Because once you're working with a team, you need to also listen to the team and all of that, and making sure that you are reaching the goal that you have set for yourself. How do young people managing their own businesses put all of this together? And like you mentioned, the phone and all of that, and now people are using their phones for businesses and everything. And then you have to know the market, you have to know the trends so that you can hop onto it and get markets and all of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, some may say, are very essential, but at what point would you say that it is okay to be here? So like, it's okay now to go to bed and then continue afterwards. At what point can young people, where do they draw the line?
It's all boiled down. It all boils down to planning. Okay, it boils down to planning. When you have a business, you must have a plan. Okay, a short-term plan, a long-term plan. In the interim, what do I want to achieve?
Okay.
If what I want to achieve falls within just my domain, I need to plan and ensure that I execute. Okay? But if I look at what I want to achieve, I will require an extra hand. Then I need to get an extra hand. So you remember that when I was speaking at first, I said that most entrepreneurs are their own strategists, their own operational people, their own sales people. Now it gets to a point where the business expands, it grows because of sometimes because of lack of trust. We do not want to bring in other people to take up
Exactly.
responsibilities,
Yeah.
and then we keep. So, for instance, I sell juice, or yes, I make juice and sell them. I was handling an order of 100. Now I'm handling an order of 500, and I still want to be the only one doing it. It's impossible. It's impossible because the order of 500 is coming from, like, let's say 10 people. How do I meet the demand of these 10 people? That is when you know that
All alone.
you need more hands. The issue here, or the concern, or the focus here is that once you realize that your business is expanding, you need more hands. You must realize that now your planning goes beyond just you, it goes on to other people as well. You are managing other people as well. And so you need to be more critical and then apportion your time well. Okay. And the reason why I keep saying that, go to bed early, sleep early, your phone, manage the usage of your phone. Yes, if the phone is for business, it is part of the
Okay.
core things you need for the business. Do it. Where I have a problem is me trying to go very viral on social media with my phone, because I have a phone and I have an Instagram platform. And so I try to do it my way. There is my way and there is their way.
Okay.
You understand? My way might not take me to the promised land,
Okay.
but the way, how it is done, will take me to the promised land. So you need to learn. Some of the things you need to learn and unlearn to be able to get there. Be ready to be what? Educated, and then you move it there. So those are the practical things I can talk about.
We'll come back to some of the challenges that people even encounter that sometimes prevents them from being able to attain a lot in the time frame they have set for themselves as entrepreneurs, even as maybe students, as people who want to now start something. And because now you have people, like you're saying, you need to expand on your skills that you have for your business. So you are the one managing your business, you are the one schooling or learning a certain skill. And now if you have people on board, you have to manage them as well. With all of these things, how do you practically manage properly, so you ensure that you get a skill, you still manage the people effectively, and you are still able to think of all the things that you have to think about? If you are just joining us, it's Entrepreneurship Clinic, the March edition, and we are talking about effective time management. We are going for a very short break. We'll be right back to continue the conversation. Thank you for sticking and staying with us right here on Entrepreneurship Clinic on PCG TV, brought to you by the Development and Social Services Department and sponsored by Salem Water and the Salem range of products, where we have shea butter, we have palm oil, we have tissues, and a host of other products. And so get close to any of the Presbyterian institutions, and then you can purchase some for your consumption or for trade. And we are having a conversation on effective time management for this month's edition. And we have a seasoned personality in the studio who has been helping us to, go deeper into effective time management, the do's and the don'ts, what you have to do to make sure that you're effectively managing your time, and then you're able to make the most out of your 24 hours and not to only struggle all over the day, and at the end of it, you get nothing to show for it. And so we are going to go back to the conversation from where we left off, talking about, the practical ways of being able to, manage yourself as an entrepreneur, the self-care, the managing your phones properly, even if you have to use social media, what you have to do and what you don't have to do. So I think that we were talking about the fact that as an entrepreneur, you have to manage people, you have to manage your business, and now you need to learn a skill just so that you could also expand in your business. So all of these things become something that is you. And how do you put all of that together, and not forgetting the fact that there are social things that also come? And you have to look at the family, you have to look at weddings to attend, so your friends don't say that because you became a manager of the business, now you've left us.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There must be a balance to all this, and the balance is very necessary for growth. Because I tell you what, the social gatherings you attend is what will project the business that you do. And it is from the people you meet at these social gatherings that you will get the customers you
That's very
need
true.
for your business. So you cannot say you won't attend the social gatherings. You need to be there. In fact, when you have a business and you are an entrepreneur, it is the more reason why you should show yourself in certain critical areas, just so they know who the brand is. So that aside, early on I was mentioning that every entrepreneur needs to have a goal, a strategy, a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. Okay.
So.
Now, this goal should include how the daily practical or operational job is being done and how you intend to expand your business. Okay. Aside the management of the people within the business. Now, you realize too that dynamics keep changing. Customer tastes keep changing. Customer preferences keep changing. If you are not in tune with the changing scenes of customer preference and behavior, you will be obsolete over a period of time. You understand? And so every time there is learning, there is skill development, there's capacity building. You understand? You must make room for that. You must be intentional with that activity if you want to see growth. Okay. Now, your ability to be able to manage all these things is what makes one a leader, or that makes one a manager. Okay. And that is what will also what grow the business. So, like I said, it goes back to what I was sharing earlier on, that one needs to have a plan.
Okay.
One. And then one needs to prioritize. One needs to learn to delegate. Okay. You need to
Yes.
learn to delegate. As your business widens or expands, there are certain activities you should not be doing them anymore. You should hand over to the next subordinate or the next
Mm-hmm.
assistant to do it so that you can prioritize your time effectively. When the business is growing, you should know when you need to employ more people. You understand? You can't pick it all on yourself. Otherwise, it will cramp up in your face. You need to delegate.
Mm. So
So
I was
that's
I was
that's
just
the
thinking,
first thing.
how different is being busy and being productive? Because a lot of the times, because there are lots of things happening at the same time. You find one entrepreneur or someone who wants to start a business now going all around the place, doing this, doing that. I mean, they are very busy.
Oh
But
yes.
is that does that equate
No,
to
no, no, no,
being
no. That
productive?
no,
How
that,
do we
yeah.
ensure that the time is managed to be that productive despite being very
You
busy?
you can be very busy and not productive. You can, and it's about being efficient.
Okay.
Okay. You can be effective but not efficient.
Okay.
You can be busy all around the place and you are not productive. It's not yielding anything. Do you understand? And it speaks to the things you are doing. It speaks to your planning as a leader.
Okay.
I can be all over the place, moving all over the place. But if I haven't strategized or prioritized, I'll be wasting my time. And so you will spend, let's take it, let's make it practical. I sell insurance or I am a broker, okay? And I need to get some deals to be able to go to the, I mean, to break even. I'm all moving my car all over, trying to get business and trying to get deals from people and, trying to, I'm just, no, you don't do that. You plan. You plan, you look at the sector, you look at where the demand is, you look at the people you can negotiate. Sometimes when you are even taking the pie all alone, it's not nice. Sometimes people would want you to share your pie with them just to be able to get a deal, a breaker in there, in that business. You do it, it will lead you to get into other businesses. It is planning.
Okay.
So when you look at it, it is basically planning. The difference between somebody who is just busy moving around and another person who is productive
Mm-hmm.
is effective planning.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of, helps us a lot, because sometimes you find, like you're saying, someone is very busy, and earlier on you shared an example where sometimes someone brings something, you take it on, another person brings. So by the time you finish with a day, you have done a whole lot of things, but you can't place a finger on one, results that you have been able to attain, that you set that, okay, I am finishing this task. So you would have done a lot of things. Poured water into different kinds of things. So you don't see how full your bottle even is.
Yeah.
And a lot of young people struggle with this,
Yeah.
because you are managing a business and you're
Mhm.
looking for people who may even sponsor
Mhm.
or invest into your business.
Mhm.
So you feel, I must please this person. If I don't do what they're
Mhm.
asking for,
Mhm.
then how do I get them to buy
Mhm.
into my idea in the
Mhm.
first place? How do
Mhm.
I make sure that they can buy into it? How do I make sure that they are pleased
Mhm.
enough to say, okay, I
Mhm.
like this person because of
Mhm.
ABC they have done for me?
Mhm.
So with all of that combined, it becomes quite difficult for young people to navigate it. I
Mm.
don't know if there are any special techniques that they could use to, still get what they want and still be focused on the task they have to deliver for themselves as businesses, or even if they're working a corporate entity.
See, okay, I would say that the special unspoken technique is one, relationship
Okay.
with other people, and two, planning. Those are the two things. I'm sure there are more, but I want to speak about these two things. Okay. I keep hammering on planning and
Yeah.
planning and planning. And like I said, planning without God is useless. I mean, let me say it for the record. If the God factor does not come, you would write and write and write, you will not get anywhere. Okay? So planning without God is basically useless. So plan and then build solid relationships.
Okay.
Build solid. You spoke about going out and having time to make. Creating time for the family, for funerals, for parties. You need them if you are an entrepreneur and you have a business. Build relationships, solid relationships. In some circumstances, you have to give off without even gaining. You understand? without the thoughts of gaining, but you are giving off because you want what? A deal, or you want a certain relationship, a lasting relationship. Okay, so there is this prominent person who is probably naming her son or her daughter. I want to go and I want to offer 10 boxes of Salem water, just for the person to know that I am celebrating with him or her. But I package my Salem water in such a way that she loves it and she wants me to bring her Salem water anytime she's dealing with guests. The first one may be free, subsequent ones becomes a business deal. You understand?
Yeah.
So plan and then build solid relationships to be able to expand your business.
I think that's
So that's
something that,
why.
yeah, a lot of young people are not taking notice of, like giving
Yes.
off in the first, I mean, period, or in
Yes.
the
Yes.
period before you are able to.
Yes.
Because it's like, let me write for donors, or let me, yes, write for grants. And so you're always focused on that, and you're not winning. You're writing proposals and you're not getting it. And you're like, I need to focus. So you're not even paying attention to any family, anything. But that's really
Yeah.
gives an idea
Yeah.
of how
Those
it
are the two.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how challenging is that? Because someone may be like, okay, I have little or small money trying to start, and all of these things are coming now. Are they able to give, what can they give realistically from the onset as a starter, so that they don't run into some kind of a loss? Yes. How are they able to put that together and say, I am giving off to reap later, but of course I still stay in business without collapsing?
The truth of the matter is that you cannot give what you don't have. Okay?
Yes.
So nobody gives something he doesn't have.
Okay.
So where there is given, it means that there's a commodity, or there's something that you have to give. So what I am saying is that you know what you can give because you know the business. What we are saying is that build relationships by offering gifts. Okay? Build relationships by letting go of something. Even God expects us to sow a seed and reap. So see it as a seed you are sowing. Okay? You sow seeds in certain places. It's like I have a business and I want to sponsor a certain program. I'm sponsoring this show, I'm sponsoring this program. The fact that I'm sponsoring this program, I'm expecting that in return, people will see my and gain publicity. I'll gain publicity and sales will what? Increase.
Yeah.
So you need to know your limits, what you can give, and to the extent to which you can give. But there is no giving if there was no commodity.
Okay, that's true.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes, that's practically it. Just know how much you can give. And sometimes it's not just giving, sometimes it's service. Sometimes it's being there for the people.
Yes, time.
Yes, your time. Yes, exactly. Sometimes making time for a certain program of a person. Scheduling, because there's a lot of packed priorities I have, but I made time to attend your program. I made time to be there when your mother died. I made time to I shared in your pain. It is a part of me that I'm giving to you. And in return, I want you to remember that I have a business. So patronize from me.
Yeah, definitely.
It's business. This is purely business. It's not yeah, I just hope you understand.
Yeah, I think that's very important, because time, a lot of the times we want to do everything for ourselves and you're not making time for anybody, no friends. Meanwhile, your friends are even your first clients.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly.
And we look so far that you don't consider the people that are within your domain, maybe your church. If you're able to go to church, you can tell your friends in the church or everybody in the church an announcement that I am into this business, I am into this service, I am into this product. And
but
then,
if you are not there,
yes,
how do you pronounce it and how do
exactly.
you market it? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Yes, because sometimes I am just looking at some young people in the church and they're like, I'm busy, I'm managing my business. To who?
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
To
the church
who?
has like the crowd.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. So I'm glad you are getting it. That's the whole idea.
yeah,
To who?
it's really important for us as young people, because we have a long way to go when it comes to the startups that we are managing, and then the entrepreneurs, I mean the businesses that we want to grow. because sometimes if even you have older people in the church or people that are well established and they don't see you around, how do they even get to see that, okay, I see this person doing well, and they can ask, what do you do? And then you can sell your idea to them, and then you
Exactly.
get them to even,
Exactly.
I mean, those are things
Exactly.
that happen that you don't even plan, but they just come like that. As you said,
Yeah.
once you commit into the hands of God, it has a way of linking you to different people.
Exactly.
We are going for a short break, and when we
Absolutely.
come back, we'll continue the conversation and then we wrap up from there. Yeah, welcome back to Entrepreneurship Clinic, the March edition, talking about effective time management and all the things about planning, prioritizing tasks, being able to take care of yourself, to have a sound mind, have a healthy body, and be able to deliver as an entrepreneur, all the things you need to do in a day, and all that you have to give to other people, but all of it in 24 hours. How effectively are you able to do that? But it is possible because we have God. And that is why it's important that you are here with us. And so you can share any comments that you have on our various social media platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Do well to share your comments and your questions. If you have any practical examples or any techniques that you use that is working for you, do well to also share for other young people, other entrepreneurs, and other startups to learn from you. This is brought to you by the Development and Social Services Department in collaboration with PCG TV, and we are sponsored by Salem Water and the Salem range of products. And so, yes, coming back to you, Mrs. Sarah Annan, yes, we have been talking a lot, I mean, about what should be done and what shouldn't be done so that we can manage our time effectively, managing a business or even working under somebody or working in a corporate entity. Maybe we are leaving out the informal sector a bit, so we may go there and then we can wrap up from there. For people who may be doing some side hustles or working in the informal sector as young people too, sometimes you have a lot of these young people as starters, they start from there. Are there any difference when it comes to how they manage their time, maybe selling something or trading in something, or I mean doing some kind of vocation and all of those, catering, doing sewing? So these are things that sometimes, especially when it comes to the people doing fashion design and all of that, you send the cloth and it takes like forever, even though they have promised that, okay, I can do this in 3 days. And then you go there like, oh, I was working on something. You knew you had this before you promised 3 days. Is it that sometimes they're unrealistic? Is it because they don't plan? Or what's it about?
That the solution is what you mentioned. The reason is what you mentioned, that
Mhm.
they just don't plan. And like we said, and we've been saying in our previous conversations, when you have your own business, sometimes you think you have time,
Mhm.
or you think it is yours, so let me do it the way I want it. Let me be comfortable. Nobody's pushing me. It's my business. You- Listen, if you do that, you are just marking time to your grave, to the end of the business. You are throwing the business in a ditch.
Mm.
Like I mentioned, an entrepreneur requires even more discipline because there's no one pushing
Discipline.
you to do it well.
Push
Okay.
yourself.
And it is not so different in the informal sector.
Okay.
The informal sector, the micro businesses, also I've dealt with them for quite a number of years now, and I know that even they require more time, they require more discipline, they require more planning. They are, in fact, they are more strategic
Okay.
because listen, a woman in Makola market, for example, who has not been to school before, I'm telling you, can tell you how how long it will take her to sell a certain number of goods she has, and where she will go and stand and she will get more markets. You know why? She's done it over and over again.
Mhm.
She's built the capacity and she knows the strategy, she knows the plan. So she will tell you that "Nneɛma yi a wokɔ akɔfa yi, yɛntɔ, wokɔfa baa yɛntɔ." Yeah, she understands the market.
Hmm.
And she's
Hmm.
dealing with the same person who sits in the office and is probably a corporate worker, a banker
Hmm.
like me, and the same 24 hours God has given
Yeah.
to both of us, she's also using that same 24 hours. And how you manage that 24 hours makes a difference. It's all about your understanding of what you are doing.
Okay.
And so it's not different. It's not so different in the informal sector or the micro businesses. They are using the same 24 hours. The difference is that they are streetwise. They understand the markets, they understand the system, they know the customers, and so they can plan
Okay.
properly. They know when to go for a lot of goods, when to go for less goods, because sales are. In fact, they can tell you within a week which day within the week she will get more sales, the day she won't get more sales. So she plans towards that. You understand? So everything boils down to planning. Effective time management is understanding the importance of your plan
Okay.
or the business you are doing.
How about the people who sometimes say that when there's pressure, that is where they are able to work faster?
It's never true. It's never true. See, if you are able to work faster when there's pressure on you, it means that you can even be more efficient when there's no pressure on you and you are disciplined.
Okay.
In a disciplined circumstance, you will be more efficient. The results you bring out when there's pressure on you can never be compared to the results you bring out when you sit down to do an intentional good work. You understand what I'm saying? So you may think you work better because there's pressure on your head. No, manage your time, plan properly, and execute. You will see that that will yield more results than
When there's
when
pressure.
there was pressure. Yeah.
Just like a final one or two, what's having worked with micro businesses,
Yeah.
what are some of the things you feel they do which do not help their time management, and that is why some of them are not even making enough sales or are not able to get good market and all of that?
Lack of capacity building and training.
Okay.
People like to stay obsolete. People don't want to change. Let me give you a typical example. You know, today, women braids, the rasta, the normal rasta, the common rasta we have. Today, how many people and they didn't mean how many people do that? Today everybody does knotless. The question is, you will have some hairdressers who do not know how to do knotless. They are still used to that. Yeah, the mini felt 3 times and saying you understand what I'm saying? And so what we are saying is that understand the times and season, the changing tastes and preferences and behavioral attributes of customers, and then build yourself, build knowledge. Okay, add to what you have, what you already know, add to it. As the terrain is changing, you must also be changing your business trends to make it better.
Yeah.
So that is the common issue that we have with micro businesses and lack of discipline.
I think that's important because sometimes, like we earlier mentioned, that you are working, you're already into the business and you still want to build a capacity. Maybe you need to take some breaks, you need to pause at a point. And I mean, the business must also continue. So putting together the time to build that capacity, the time to attend to family stuff, and the time to do the business becomes like a whole lot of things at once. And I think, like you mentioned, without discipline, then there's a struggle.
Yeah. And today, you don't have to take off time to learn anything. Today, everything is on the phone at a click of a button. You can learn so many things. There are so many courses on the phone. There are so many. You know, last time I was asking my daughter where we can get something to buy. She just went to TikTok and instantly she got a location. She said, Mommy, let's go to somewhere in Adenta. It is 23 minutes drive. We'll get there right now. We'll get to the shop. She called the number that was on TikTok and they said, the shop is open. And she said, Mommy, they are open. Let's go. You know, so everything is online. The phone is such a powerful tool that keeps us present in terms of knowledge. So unless you don't want to grow,
Yeah, that's true.
you need to grow with the time in the changing seasons. Yeah.
So I think someone mentioned this, that sometimes we feel we don't have much time, but the time you even sit in a vehicle, especially for those of us using a commercial vehicles, you don't drive. You have your phone. What are you doing at the time that you're traveling in a whole traffic congestion for like an hour and 30 minutes? You could be doing something, but I mean, so it depends on what you're doing at the moment. If you want to learn, you learn. If you don't want to learn and you want to waste time, you waste it. So I think that's very practical for us to do. I mean, using the phone while you are even selling when nobody has come yet, to
Mm-hmm.
take the phone and then you
Mm-hmm.
begin to steal. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's very good that you have
Mm-hmm.
brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of it becoming a distracting tool, then it
Exactly. It
becomes of
becomes an
rather,
informative
yeah.
one. Yeah.
So your final words for entrepreneurs, for people that are working in corporate entities, for people in the informal sector, what can you tell them to effectively manage their time and make the most out of 24 hours? That is for everybody.
Okay. I just want to say that you should know that you are blessed to be counted among the living, first of all, and to have time to make a change or to effect a change. The only one who cannot effect any change is the one who is in the grave and dead. Once you have life and God is on your side, everything is possible. But everything is possible in an effective manner if you plan. Okay? Do not leave things to chance. Plan and execute. Don't just plan and keep it in the books or keep it in the cupboard. Plan and execute and avoid distractions. The phone, like you rightly said, can be a powerful tool for information and growth. At the same time, it can be very destructive. Let's choose the one we want to
Mm.
use it for in
Mm.
order to manage our time properly.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sarah Annan. And she is a finance professional with 15 years of banking experience and also working with the EcoBank group, specifically the Pan African Savings and Loans. I hope I got that
Got
right.
it right.
Yes.
You
And
got
then
it
she's
right.
also served as the head of customer experience and transformation and doubles as the chief of staff of the company, focusing on business strategy, implementation, and quality service experience management. And prior to that, she was the gender and inclusive banking head. Yes, and then focusing on empowering individuals in underserved areas and locations, especially for women, and helping them to manage their finances properly, and then building wealth and making good investment decisions. So thank you so much, Mrs. Sarah Annan, for,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, for
Thank
spending
you.
the time with us. We are so
Thank you. I
grateful.
enjoyed my time here as well.
We are
I am
happy.
grateful. Yes, I am.
We are happy you
Thank
enjoyed the
you.
time as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
And so, yes, I believe that you have learned a lot from March edition talking about effective time management. And this is brought to you every last Thursday of the month. And so, do well to block the date and do well to mark your calendars and make sure that you're always present with us right here on Entrepreneurship Clinic. My name is Mary Snakole Ayi, and so this, like I mentioned, we are also sponsored by Salem Water and the Salem range of products. And so do well to get to any of the Presbyterian institutions, the head office, any other place, and then get any of the products for yourself. You can even trade in them. That becomes an income avenue for you as well. And my beautiful Ghana shirt is designed by Nurse Craft, and so do well to contact us also on our various social media platforms, and you can get one for yourself. Once again, my name is Mavis Nakole Aito. We come your way with the next edition in the next month. We say keep working for yourself and keep managing your time effectively, avoiding distractions and making sure that you are planning and prioritizing your task. It's a bye for now.